Welcome back to our channel. Today we're diving deep into one of the most intense periods in modern history. The American-Soviet War, a conflict that had the world on the brink of nuclear annihilation. How did it start? How did it end? And most importantly, how did humanity manage to avert disaster? Let's find out. The American-Soviet War, often referred to as the Cold War, was not a traditional war with battles and front lines. Instead, it was a prolonged state of political and military tension between the United States and the Soviet Union, beginning in the aftermath of World War II. In 1945, as World War II came to a close, a power vacuum emerged in Europe. The United States and the Soviet Union emerged as superpowers, but their ideologies couldn't have been more different. The US championed democracy and capitalism, while the USSR promoted communism and a state-controlled economy. In 1946, Winston Churchill famously declared that an Iron Curtain had descended across Europe, symbolizing the division between the Western democracies and the Eastern Communist bloc. This division set the stage for the tensions that would follow. The conflict escalated in several key events. One major flashpoint was the Berlin blockade in 1948. The Soviet Union blocked all ground routes into West Berlin, hoping to force the Allies out. In response, the US and its allies launched the Berlin Airlift, supplying West Berlin with food and fuel for nearly a year. This act of defiance was a clear message. The West would not back down. As tensions mounted, the arms race began. Both superpowers amassed vast arsenals of nuclear weapons. By the late 1950s, the threat of nuclear war loomed large. The Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962 brought the world to the brink. When the US discovered Soviet missiles in Cuba, President Kennedy faced the grim reality of a potential nuclear confrontation. For 13 days, the world held its breath as negotiations unfolded. In a tense standoff, both sides ultimately agreed to remove their missiles, averting disaster for the moment. Throughout the Cold War, the conflict manifested in various proxy wars around the globe. From Korea to Vietnam, the US and the USSR supported opposing sides, leading to millions of casualties and widespread suffering. The Vietnam War, in particular, highlighted the brutal realities of Cold War politics, as the US sought to contain communism, while the Soviet Union provided support to North Vietnam. The late 1980s marked a turning point in the Cold War. Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev introduced reforms known as glasnost and perestroika, aimed at opening up the economy and society. These reforms sparked a wave of revolutions across Eastern Europe, leading to the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 and the collapse of communist regimes. The world watched in awe as citizens reclaimed their freedom. By 1991, the Soviet Union itself was unraveling. Amidst economic turmoil and nationalistic movements, the USSR officially dissolved on December 26th. 1991, the Cold War was over. This marked not just the end of a geopolitical struggle, but also a new era of hope for many nations that had long been under oppressive regimes. So how did the Earth get saved from nuclear war? The answer lies in diplomacy, courage, and the realization that mutual destruction was not a viable option. Leaders on both sides recognized the need for dialogue and cooperation. Treaties such as the Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty began to reduce the number of nuclear weapons, fostering a climate of trust and collaboration that was previously unimaginable. In the end, the American-Soviet War taught us valuable lessons about the dangers of ideological extremism and the importance of dialogue. As we reflect on this tumultuous period, let us remember that peace is always possible, even in the darkest of times. Thank you for watching. If you found this video insightful, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more historical content. Let us know in the comments what other events you'd like us to cover. Until next time, stay curious.